confirm that my sound and my video is well. Can anybody please confirm that to me? Yes, everything is fine? Okay, thank you very much, because this was something important to be careful about. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to you for your time and for your attendance, obviously for your attention. And after, I would like to give a special thanks for the TDU program for their work in try to help us to improve our professional background. And also, pues, special thanks to Dolores Coronado, that pues, she helped me in this process directly. So, and this is a process of a topic that I have been interested for a long time, because this is a thing like I have to face directly in each of my lessons in the process of learning of my students. So that's why it's coming from. But I will relate you the story about this in a while. So maybe we can start now. Yes. So first, the idea of this is like enhancing speaking skills in basic levels. The idea of this is basically just, as the name speaks, is like how we can find a way from our specific departments, because we have some specific issues, how we can enhance the speaking skills, how we can try to make a stimulation in our students in order that they can create and they can produce things in the language. All right. So first we will speak about the reasons. After I will expose a little bit the idea and the history of this idea. The process, more or less how did we do, like very brief of what was the process, basically what we did, and etc. And then some specific conclusions that we may have here. Okay. At the end, maybe you can feel free to give me any question or anything, and I hope that you may find this in somehow useful for you. Entonces at the beginning, when we speak about the problem, because there is something specific between we teachers, and most specific in our department, like we have a perception that our students in middle level and also in upper levels, they cannot produce in the language. Yes, maybe they can answer exams, they can pass the course, but at the moment, like they need to create something, like to use the different tools that we have given to them and create something new, or create a sentence from their inside. It's a very hard process, no? And we found that in general, they have difficulties for it. So around more or less 1 year and a half before, we have a group that it was conformed by Maria Petrucova, Juan Peng, Marco da Costa, Ana Maria Lampira. And with this group, we start to expose some ideas of improvement on our process. So based in that exposition that we did in those times, in that job, I wanted to continue in that path, because this one was an idea, like, but of course I believe it in. So I continued it. So the original project, it was focus our teaching in a pragmatic focus. Yes, like giving a communicative method and giving to the students a perception of usefulness. Like the students, they feel like, okay, this thing that we are learning, we will use in a real situation. And then the idea was to give some students protagonism. Entonces, like collaboration, like the idea was to enhance the collaboration inside of the class, the creativity, and the critical thinking. All right. And at the end, pues, the idea was to increase an autonomous learning. This is not from this project. This is from the former project that we did in that time with our group. So based on it, I tried to use some topics here. So one, it was the communicative methods. that we are here, the perception of usefulness, like how they feel, like if they are speaking and they are creating, they will say, okay, this is useful for us. It's not just for a quiz or an exam. And maybe some parts of the student protagonism. You know, I couldn't maybe reach all of them in this process, but this one was my main idea. So this is where it's coming from, this. Now, the idea, it was basically that this is the current idea that we work directly with Dolores. It was create group dynamics adapted to real situations that maybe they can motivate the verbal interaction between the students. So basically, this is focused on create speaking activities. Bueno, but these speaking activities, they should force, but not force, we can say enhance the students of use specific tools that we give them, and make a mix and create something by their own. All right. Also, the main idea is to give some improvement in the attention, in the listening of them, like how they are listening to other students, because they need to answer questions about the things that other students said. So, bueno, more or less, this is what we wanted to do. Entonces, the process, how was the general process? Bueno, during all the semester, we did different activities, doing the same process. There was a planning, there was a developed of them, and after there was a feedback, and then some conclusions of each of them. It was bueno, it was a special semester because I have 4 groups of the same level. It was Spanish 101. So it gave me, when it was an opportunity to compare the different groups, the different environments. I don't know if maybe you feel identify with this thing that I will say, but sometimes we have the perception that we have some very good groups and some groups that they are not that good. So in order to it, like I wanted to analyze it, and I had all the tools, because during all that semester, I had 4 groups with the same level. Okay. So the idea is to do the same activities, analyzing if there is something to improve, we can improve for the next one. So we could have enough data to give bueno, good conclusions about this topic. All right. Entonces, the thing is, at the beginning, it was necessary an input that includes all the useful tools for the activity. This is the classic teacher path here. So I just go and I explain what we need to do. When I teach the topic. So it was necessary to teach all the topics focused in that final task. So it was the first step. Then, before each activity, bueno, the students should have been informed about the goals and they were aimed to reach. So, bueno, first we give the topics. Then we start to, when we will give the activity, it was necessary to explain, bueno, look, this activity is focused on this, and what are we looking for with it? Okay, so they are included in their learning path. Then the teacher had to give an explanation, and after 2 or 3 activities, we found the importance to use examples. So like I explained how is the activity, but more than explain it, it was very important to use one of the students or 2 of the students and make an example, so all the members, they will be sure about what they needed to do. Okay, and then the different factors were analyzed and compared in each class. As I told you before, when we did in each class, I compared one class to another, and we tried to find why was the reason of some differences, because it was clear that some classes, they have different developments in the same activities. We found, for example, like sometimes it was a misunderstanding during the explanation. We found environmental things. It was something very important that we found in this process. Sometimes we found like it was exams week, so probably they were tired and stressed, so they couldn't carry out very well the activity, etc. Well, then we pass in the part like it was before and after. Bueno, entonces first it was the preparation, yeah? With the mentor. That in this situation I will call the mentor like Dolores and the teacher by me. It was a planning before. Entonces they say, bueno, in this class we will do this specific activity. We prepare. She gave me some. I said, bueno, I'm thinking to do this activity because of this. She told me, no, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do some changes. Or okay, do it, right? Then we prepare everything about the time, how will be the organization inside of the class, etc. Then we had a feedback. You know, I try to carry on the activity as best as possible. I give my personal opinion, and when we discuss these topics. One it was by the mentor, and the other one was by the teacher. All right, we prepare what we have correct, what was okay, and which problems did we have in each of the class. The idea it was to improve each of these activities. So like, for example, this week, we do this activity in the first class. So basically we will do the same activity 4 times. So the idea was how to find the perfect way, well, not the perfect, but the best way to give this activity. Because this is what we were looking for. And then at the end, pues we have some conclusions. But before the conclusions, I would like to more or less express you or to show you what kind of activities did we develop. One example is we were in the first level, so basically everything was about introducing yourself and give personal information, and also it was the first approach of verbs conjugation in Spanish. So bueno, there was one activity like we tried to prepare all the environment in class. So the students, they should we tried to move around, so the students they were facing to each other in the same class. They were given personal information. We use a little ball that we can throw, that the students can throw to each other. They give their personal information, and that's all. But after there was explained like they need to be careful, because they need to explain or to introduce one of the people that one of their classmates. So they were using their personal introduction, but also they would introduce someone else. Well, in Spanish, this requires a little bit more of job because the conjugation of the verb changes. The suffix that we add in the verb changes by the subject. So when we were doing this, we were trying to evaluate. This is an example of one of the activities. And for example, from this activity, we start to find some conclusions that I will try to expose you right now. Entonces, one of them, it was the environmental factors. What is this focusing? It was like we really found a difference between the design of the class. It's because in each of these activity, we need to move, we need to face to each other, because the students, they were speaking to each other, so it was necessary to see. And in the big classrooms that they were static, that we were not able to move the tables and chairs, they were having lower development. Bueno? So we need to make some changes. The students, they need to stand up to go around the class, but the distance between them, it was very long. So we found that also the distance were affecting their attention when they were listening their colleagues. Another environmental factors, as maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes before I told you, the situation that they were having in. Once we found that during the exams week, the students, they were in the middle of their level, so they were not finding the answers that easy. They were not focused. Maybe they were tired. There were some another environmental factors that were affecting them very much. So we basically these ones two we found, and also there were differences between classes. So there were some specific lessons that they have the tendency of always do the activities well, and there were some lessons that they were always not always, but having more difficulties in these activities development. So we found like there are differences between lessons so far. Maybe is necessary more data because they change it. So it changes depend also of the classroom, of the environmental place. There was a moment about temperature. I was having lessons. I compared two lessons. One I had in the E block, and another lesson it was in the M block in the 5th floor. I guess all of us we know how are the lessons there when the summer is coming, so the heat start to increase very much, and it really affects the students. It really it was a change between the both students. One group they were in the E block with good ventilation. They could move. It was a different environment, and they had very good development in the same activity than the same group, that the other group, that we did exactly the same, but we were in a hot environment that they couldn't focus on anything. Basically, you may say, well, this is not something new. Obviously, if there is hot, we cannot concentrate on that all. But in the class environment, we found really differences by a group. So maybe these differences between one group to another, they are more environmental factors. There is a big part of environmental factors more than the students by itself. Bueno, here we have another ones, the examples, how the examples that we give make influences in them. For example, if I didn't give the example to one group, their development was completely different than the another one. Example was very necessary in this situation. The previous input. Not just the input that we give, because obviously I teach the same to the students, but how we give it, how we try to share that information with them, how we leave the information available for them in the board, that when they need to find some vocabulary that maybe they have forgotten, or that they need extra things, maybe they found it there or not. If I did everything from the board, how is their environment? So this part of examples, it was a very specific, very clue, very key fact in the development of these activities. Then it was the change in the environment. Well, this is the last one, but I start with this one because this one was that caught more my attention, more than the previous input and examples, because they are some things that we can understand since the beginning. But the environment, it really affects them. If they can move around, if they can be close to each other or not, if the classroom is very hot or the weather is normal inside of the classroom, etc. So there were some facts extra than the main students. So like sometimes we are saying, no, this group, the students are not that good, and no, this group, the students are very good. But maybe it's not just necessary with the students, it's more focused in the environmental factors related with it. Entonces, basically this is what we have done in this. We have these conclusions. This is a topic like I have been interested. I tried to connect it with the previous project that we have with our group more than 1 year ago. But this is something like I would like to continue working in because, and also right now in the situation that we are having, like in distance education, how we can try to focus, because with my students we have had that issue of how we can break this distance wall that we have to each other, and how we can start to improve some communication aspects. Yes, that one, it was very interested. Richard, you are right, because just the temperature really affected them. Because I compared the same group in different classrooms, and I compared the same day different groups. So this is one of the things that we have found. Maybe with more data, it would be possible to give some more structure to it, some more numbers, and find a way how to make an improvement in it. But now, I guess our path has turned completely to how we can implement this learning in this new environment that is really affecting all of us. Yes, bueno, this is another fact. Bueno, my class during that semester and this semester as well, they are very standard. They are during the afternoons, so I couldn't compare that much. But sometimes when we have had classes in the morning, there are moments during the day that the students they feel better, or they feel more ready for these kind of activities, right? For example, after the lunch, but this is some extra ideas that I had before, but I couldn't compare that semester. Like the classes after the lunch or the very early class from 9 to 11, I found them a little bit more critical if I compare them with the class of 11 or in the afternoon a little bit farther from the lunch. So there are another environmental things that of course they are related with the time. I don't know when Richard you have started like this. I don't know if there is more other questions that you would like to ask me about this process. I found it very interesting. I guess there is some more things, or maybe some other advices. Bueno, here we are between colleagues, so it can be horrid. Bueno, okay, no, thank you very much to you, Marco. Bueno, thank you for your attention then. And if you have any other ideas or anything that may help us to do it, I will be very grateful to receive them. And obviously, you will see some backup on me. Well, thank you for everyone. Have a wonderful day and a very good weekend. And my best wishes to all of you. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And Murat, thank you for all your support in technologies, by the way. Gracias.
Simon. Simon, ¿qué?